Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're going to be rounding out my Delicious in Dungeon Meshy, Done Meshy if you're nasty series here today with episodes 23 and 24. We're very excited to be finishing the show here today and seeing how we round up at least season 1, I would say. Again, all of this is with the knowledge that there is more. More has been confirmed to my knowledge as well. I think there's going to be a season 2. I think Trigger's still involved. That's awesome. I'm very much looking forward to seeing it. I would like to see how this story ends. From my understanding, again, the story will end with that second season as well, which is, again, that's great. We want conclusion. We want closure. We don't want some, shonen-esque thing that just perpetuates forever and ever, gets stale after a while. We like endings, folks. We like endings. But that's for the future stuff. For the now, how are we going to end season 1? What are we going to end on? Is it going to be a cliffhanger? Is there going to be some other revelation about something else? Are we going to see any of these characters that have been foreshadowed? I.e. the elves, i.e. Kaburu again, i.e. Farlan, i.e. Thistle, Mad Magician guy. Are we going to see any of them here today? You'd have to think at least one of those are likely. You'd have to think. Either way, let's get those YouTube comments up here and ready to go. Then we can jump into the episode proper. First we have, let's call it 3 subsequent comments from Bamps. First one, no need for much discussion here. I just think it's peak 2. I'm with you. This was a repeat of a comment from a previous week, which is funny, because, yeah, you did say that last week, but hey, it still rings true. Izutsume, as much as I had some criticisms about how they treated her in episode 21, I believe it was, they're still holding up their end of the bargain there with the animation and, the personification of this Beastman type character, taking in a lot of these animalistic traits and portraying them on screen in a satisfactory way. I'm in agreement, of course. Last comment here today we have by Heath, which translates a little bit of the background text. Specifically this stuff I found quite helpful, if I could speak. I wish they did that. Why don't they do that? Are they lazy? Do they get AI to do it? I don't know. I don't know. But I really wish they would do that, because this is... I'll go through the comment, but this specifically would have been really handy for, I guess, centering some of my discussion. So let's go through it here. The first one is when Kaburu is thinking about Laios's odd companions, we have a short description of each person, right? So Farlan is the younger sister relative to Laios, makes sense. She graduated from magic school. That's something that we know that Kaburu knows from that conversation in episode 14, I want to say. Apparently Marcel is a mystery woman, but he puts 2 and 2 together and says that she's from magic school as well, again, from episode 14. Chilchuck, influential half-foot. Now, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by influential? Yeah, well, again, Chilchuck is hiding his past somewhat. That was explored in episode 22 as well, so... Is there more there? Is there a reason why he is, I guess, disassociated from the rest of his family now? They're estranged based on events. Sounds kind of like Namari, where, what you see on the surface isn't always the full story. And again, we'll dive further into Namari further in the series. I'm absolutely sure of it. Now, we're unsure about this one. I don't know if we're unsure about this one as in unsure what it means, or unsure if the translation is all there correct. But Eastern man working in secret... For whom? For whom would be my question there. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The East is definitely somewhere where we're coming back to. Of course, there is that plot thread that is dangling there of if we're ever trapped in the dungeon for whatever reason, we can... Is it a bell? We can ring this bell and it'll take us east or something, or someone will take us east, or it'll gain their attention. The East is I guess, foreshadowed in the narrative quite a bit, I would say. Namari, daughter of a runaway corrupt arms dealer. We mostly know that story already, true. And Senshi, of course we don't know Senshi, because Senshi's from fucking underground. So, of course, Kaburu wouldn't be aware. He's been underground the entire time, buddy. Now, this is the one I really wanted to talk about. When Kaburu was thinking and an image showed up of a bunch of stones crushing Laios, each stone said things like rights, government, feelings of the people of the island, public relations, malice, etc., etc. In other words, a bunch of things the ruler of a kingdom would have to think about that Kaburu thinks Laios couldn't handle without being crushed under the weight. Now, that's a great point. being a ruler means being a ruler, means you need to do all of these things, right? And hey, Laios may love monsters and all that kind of stuff and be really passionate from that perspective, and seems to have a, level head on his shoulders, at least morally. He's not a bad person. I think Kabaru can see that as well. But hey, if he doesn't put the right people in place, if he's left to his own devices to do this stuff, he'll be horrible at it, right? He would be horrible. And if he's horrible, he would seek help, and could he seek help from people that would seek to manipulate him, like Laios has been manipulated in the past, right? Getting a bunch of bad people, to use his service, essentially, to get stuff from him for free. Would he be another Lord of the Island type situation? Yeah, again, I see Kaburu's perspective there. Again, to that I say, leaders don't do all these jobs all the time. They have ministers to do that. Leaders are mainly a figurehead, right, and a mouthpiece for whatever policy they're trying to say. So if he can do that part right, then hey, that's half the battle. And then again, it's a matter of HR at that point. It's a matter of putting the right person in the right spot at the right time. Either way, I should get a wriggle on, because I don't want to be rambling too much too early, because the way I understand it, these episodes are longer. At least episode 23 is, from my knowledge, 28 minutes, something like that. So hey, if they're both longer, then that's more stuff for me to do. Better get a wriggle on. Before I forget, because I forgot on Monogatari on Monday, which was not great. Patreon shout-out, let's go do that. Now again, it's somewhat a moot point with this being the finale of Dungeon Meshi, at least for now, but hey, for all the other series on the channel, up to and including Monogatari and Apothecary Diaries, and whatever comes next, which I guess I'll talk about here in a second as well, you can be 1 week ahead. It's $6. Many people have done this, up to and including Annie Gregg, Mickey Babbers, Trails++, Anders Harlan, Backslash, Bobbin, Chobo Ribby, Domobot, Ed, Emily A, Fancy Question Mark, Fleur Nightingale, Fried Rice, Fruit, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Gus N, Heath, Hex, Ika, Yako Yavanen, Joran, Caitlin at 10,000, Kelvin, Clem, Nosta, Lou, Mish, Mistake L. Chen, Nailu, Nick, Parnick, Pencil Sharp 333, Pseudonym Van Dyke, Ron Lad BNK, Saint Lily, Sal, Sam1373, Skeleton, Surrogate Corpse, Without a Net, Zahn Echo, Zach, Binshi, Hans Peter, Marsh, Aidan O'Brien, Sinorin, Funny Fat Guy, and Ramen Boy. Thank you to all those people for giving me money. Now I mentioned, hang on, there's another page here. Hang on, with Rantiki. I forgot Rantiki. I have 51 patrons now. That's pretty cool. Thank you. I never noticed there was another page there. I don't think I've been missing that in the past. I think that's a new thing. Hopefully. Hey, on the channel next, there will be a poll. The poll will appear on the channel last week. So I don't know why I'm talking about it. I should have talked about it the week before, if I'm completely honest with you. There's a bit of dust just went on the camera there. That was fucking weird. More to the point, hey, if you wanted to see what that thing is, it's on the Patreon right now. So it'll already be on the channel. It was a classics-themed poll, which had the kind of arbitrary, qualifier that it had to be from 20 years ago or more. So that'll be on the channel. You can check that out. That kind of thing. I should have mentioned the poll last week, but I didn't. It's dusty as hell in here. What's going on? Alright, get me out of here. Senchi's underground with his dwarf friends. It seems like we're going to do a flashback thing for at least a little bit of the episode, kind of justifying that Griffin thing from last episode. Senchi's scared shitless. And again, I've talked about major plot threads that are still hanging around, i.e. Elves, i.e. Kabaru, i.e. Farlan, i.e. Thistle, i.e. Lion Wing guy. Lots of stuff going on. And yeah, I think the best way to make a start in the video is to make a start in the video. Of course, Discord if you want to discuss things with me further. Subscribe, like the video. Let's jump into this thing, shall we? Let's go. Rightio, as I alluded to before, there's the episode. Hello, the episode. I'll move my mic slightly as well. Yeah, it's 28 minutes and 2 seconds, so that's pretty long already. I wonder if the finale itself will be equally long. I guess we'll see. But yeah, picture in the description below should just be the Netflix sub if you wanted to sync up with your own stuff. And yeah, let's give it a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh. Bit of a mouthful this morning, this episode, I must say. I feel like I'm spitting fire. Whatever Trigger makes next, I gotta watch as well. I just think Trigger very good. Unpopular opinion, I know. It's never not interesting. Actually, no, I lie. Whenever they do them, well, it's sort of Edge Runners. Whenever they do their licensed stuff, I feel like it's a little bit not great. But again, still better than your average studio, I would say. We need that Hiroyuki Imaishi type shit. That's all I'm trying to say. We need Kill la Kill 2, but different. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. Kill la Kill good. I don't know. What else are we even doing? Senshi, young Senshi looks like Steven Universe. I'm not going to let this go. I think he really does. And I think that's funny. Again, I haven't even seen Steven Universe, but like... Alright, City Made of Gold. Fallen Kingdom. No, Human Greed. You misunderstand. As we know, Senshi, he loves gold and material possessions. Are they like possessed? What the fuck? Kind of. Hang on. A bit uncomfortable today. That's better. Maybe. What began? Oh, some kind of griffin? Yeah, that would be it. Yeah, see, that's why you always trust your gut in these kind of situations. Good advice. Huh. What the fuck? Okay, sure. Some dwarven hottie. Cannibalism, I say. Guy's got a perfectly cubular skull. Let's go Matt Boy. And I never saw them again. Oh, look at Senshi. He's growing his beard, his iconic beard. Mm-hmm. That's kind of brutal. It enjoys the thrill of the kill. Roast it. Oh, on the horse. Gotcha. Oh, only 36. Alright, this guy's got a cubular head and he's still talking shit. We can't have that. Bring back bullying. Oh, yeah, we're like dying. This is pretty dramatic, I can say. Wait, what the fuck? Did somebody murder somebody? He had to die, bro. Oh. Helmet, you say? Classic shot. Could get some spices in there. I think he's fucking dead, dude. Hitori? True. What? Whoa! Well, dungeon cleaners? Question mark. I like his hair now. It's kind of chill. Then we started learning some knowledge, dude. That beard's coming through as well. That's nice. Oh. The surface, you say? I see. Insane tragedy, dude. No! No! Laios! You gotta think about it, buddy. I mean, closure, but it's a bit insensitive. A couple of things, right? In confronting your fear of eating the griffin again, you're also confronting the fear of opening up. That's what this is getting at, obviously. Clearly. He's quite the butcher, I will say. What are we cooking? How are we cooking this? Yeah, well, I could have assumed that. I don't know. Oh, they're cool. Oh, the rock. Shut up, I'm thinking. Take the risk then. Animation feels slightly different. Maybe it's character model stuff. At least on Marcel, she looks a little bit, not off, but kinda. Oh yeah, and we split it into lower and upper body there as well. Oh, I just put two and two together. Okay, I'm kind of stupid. Okay, fair enough. Freaky Laios? Oh, okay. Maybe not. Like Harry Potter? Are you sure? I agree. Huh? What? What is going on? Huh. What if it just does, it tastes different again, and then we confirm it's human meat? What? Talk to me. Saved. Okay. Senshi isn't a cannibal. Can't believe I was so stupid. Like, I just didn't realize what was the problem with it. I didn't put two and two together, I guess. True. What if they just said no? uh, no, we're done with you now. What are we going to changeling into? Or no, do we all get like poisoned or something? Well, you're like boiled meat. Okay, no, it wasn't a changeling thing then. Never mind. What? Is he fat? What's going on? No, it was a changeling thing. Gotcha. Yeah. They got that codename Kids Next Door thing going on. Oh. He looks like he beats his wife. Okay, so it was a changeling thing. I really like, yeah, Senshi's very funny. We must remember there was a fifth member. Uh-huh. Correct. Mm-hmm. Why is that character design so funny? But we broke the ring, did we not? Or that. Oh, all in each other's clothes? Yeah, this is fantastic. Oh. Look at the chin on it. Peter Griffin. Other voice. Oh my god. Truly a cursed episode. Oh, yeah, that was, Marcel pointed out the trap because her senses are keen up, right? Oh, toss me. That Lord of the Rings tech. Oh, we're here? Okay, we did it. Yeah, but where's my changeling mushrooms? We accidentally finished the dungeon? Huh. Well, we did imply that the dungeon would be more hostile now. Heh. We'll find a way to fix it, I'm sure. It's a magic thing. I would have Marcel look at it. Yeah, this is very D&D. I don't think that's going to work. Interesting. It all connects back, doesn't it? I love that. How about Kensuke? Thank Kensuke. I guess this is more to that Destiny talk as well. Okay, what are you? That's a gargoyle? Those are gargoyles. Funny. What was that? What was that line? Okay, now you're on drugs. Okay, that's good. Smaller body. Yeah. The fuck is that? Senshi's too busy mogging everybody. Dwarves struggle over longer distances. They're natural sprinters. Oh, yeah. You rung the bell. Am I wrong? You rung the bell. You rung the bell. Everyone, I noticed that he rung the bell. Yeah, look at this this Skyrim shit. The planet core. I can't take the character design seriously at all. It just makes me smile. Some kind of bun? What are we making? Dough stick? Dough pieces? Thin sheets? Spring rolls? No, dumplings. Or buns? Anyway, whatever. They seem yummy. Did that thing have fur in it? I'm not eating Izutsumi's ones. Yeah, look at that. Ew. Again, I'm not eating the one with fucking hair in it. How could it be bad? Cooking skill? Yeah, okay. No, that brings it full circle. You're completely right. Everyone has some kind of dumpling. I thought it was a good moral. We do need a solution quickly, though. Okay, now we're going to get a history lesson. This sounds like a really interesting setting. I'm not an elf. Not right now. But also talk to me about that. Stop. Stop. Every time. I can't believe that was it. I guess I didn't realize that episodes ended. Why did it just end on nothing? No ED? Did I even have the opening did have credits over it now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, weird. Onwards and upwards to the final episode, I say. There's not really a very good lead in there. Because again, full disclosure, I'm reading the episode titles. It seems like they're at least relatively similar. Like, one's got 1 in it, one's got 2 in it. Like, I thought it was going to be like the Red Dragon stuff, which I guess was connected, but had stopping points still. Interesting. Anyway, let's jump into the next one, shall we? Let's do that. Rightio, I have the final episode of Season 1 of Delicious in Dungeon up there ready to go. 25 minutes and 58 seconds on my copy, so sync up accordingly. The Netflix version I am using, of course, and picture-in-picture, which you should already know. So yeah, let's give this a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah. Okay, sure. I'm a bit freaked out by the very end of that episode. Just kind of ended. I was going to say it would have been, I wouldn't have been surprised if there was no opening. Okay, so first things first. Hang on, just while I'm here. Just check that I'm on the right sub. Yes, I am. That's good. We need to change ourselves back, because I doubt that we're going to stay in these forms for particularly long. We're already talking about elves, so we're probably going to meet with the elves. We're talking about Marcille meeting with the elves. Seemed hesitant to talk about her connections to the elves and her mother, which is something I've been talking about for a while as well. That there may be some kind of intersection there. What is Marcel's history there? What is her? Marcel's lived a long time, is my point. Anyway, we're going to learn more about this ancient conflict between the dwarves and the elves, which, again, to my knowledge, happened before the Golden Castle and all that kind of stuff. Because that happened, and then the land was ceded to the humans, and then the Golden Castle stuff happened, and I think that Thistle was reading maybe this kind of stuff, the black magic stuff, and that caused another catastrophe. Again, layers and layers of history and world building here, of course. The roses are killing me. It's so funny. Will always be breaking. Oh, so you'd be... Okay, so it's like equivalence, gotcha. Great point. So you would, yeah. You'd be at most at danger, I think. Wrinklesoul. But most don't. Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, holy fuck. Okay, I need to get my head in the game. Great point. Great point. Oh, yeah, great point. uh, it's true. He's so stupid. I don't like the bipedal designs. What is that? Okay. No. You have sharper senses. Rely on them. You do too. Okay. What could it even be? I'm gonna headbutt a gargoyle? What do you want with the sword? Tossed around like a red-headed stepchild. It looked like the mushroom shit. What? Oh, it's cool. Alright, did it get changelinged? The sword's cool now. Let's go. Oh, okay, that's sick. Every time. Now we're gonna make a ring, guys. Well, that's not very successful. We must make a circle, gang. That was amazing. I loved that. Alright, now bro is stuck. Oh, and the grates. It all comes together, doesn't it? Oh, it's like the opening. Stop. Alright, what happened to bro? God himself? What? What? I see what they're doing. Now. Go, 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 go. Perfect. Goes without saying, but the animation there was very good. Cursed image. Why? Don't wash your hands in it. Whatever. I agree. Oh, and that's how it spreads. Gotcha. Kensuke, you're now cool. Oh. A different kind of cooking of the dumpling. Yeah, maybe put some clothes on before you fry something in oil? What's going on? The voice here is very good. I still don't like the hairs. Specifically in that one, it looks like a fucking ball sack. What? If I give one to Gang, what will happen? Oh! Yo! Yeah, cool. Different dumplings. Is there some dango down there? I don't know, you tell me. Alright, Gang, we're back. But my legs are long. I'm back. Creature reproduction? Hey, yo. Yeah, it was like ham or something. Yeah, it got ingested into whatever the hell Fallen is now. Wash the damn sword. He just thinks it's cool. Okay, that's kind of based. How long do we have left? Yeah, half an episode. That's like an elevator. What the fuck? Is it a diagonal elevator? I love a good diagonal elevator. Something about it just tickles my fancy. Move diagonally, and I will give you everything. Let's go. Yeah, this is a really different look. It almost feels Girls' Last Tour. Cute. Sure. It's a very subdued scene. It's like my hot plate. Terrible. Doesn't heat things up at all. Oh, great question. Answer me this. Fair enough. We've implied before that you got kind of bullied. And then you got bullied again. You should wash yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting. He's just a vibe. I don't know, but that's what your 20s is like as well. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you listening? Does she just want him to shut up? Okay, no, you're awake. Stop crying on me. Mm-hmm. Of course. It's heartbreaking. That brings again the themes of the show all together again as well. Oh, yes. Okay, that's amazing. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Hmm. I have my doubts. Hmm. Oh yeah. Okay, because of the ham from before. She's just like bacon and eggs for real. I see what they mean. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Pause? What is he saying? I don't want to. I don't want to do that. Okay. What an interesting thing to say. What an odd question about that. I don't, but again, speaking about bringing all the themes together, everyone eat Farland. Is she going to be like alive while this is happening? What's. We're going to amputate her? Or. Oh. We know her heart isn't here. We do have some friends, it's true. Are we going to have a big, like, everyone's gonna fucking eat? Big banquet? How about a bunch of elves? Yep, okay. Yeah, it'll be that easy, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm just saying, are we just like cutting her torso off? Okay. And then this seems all lead in. Hello, Mushroom Boy. Why not? Stop thinking about it. I'm hella giga hungry. Yeah, we're finishing up. Also, like one of the first things we ate was that walking mushroom. So coming back at the end here is cool. Alright, I mean, I clearly want more. Clearly. An ED. It's obviously good. I just wish we had a little bit more of a clearer lead in. I don't think the realization that we should eat Farlan is enough of a banger for finishing the show. I guess this is where we come to like, hey, you're adapting manga. But then I think we go to, hey, you need to adapt manga to a spot where you need to pick your moments better. Because again, this is TV. This is trying to entice people to watch more. Maybe in the streaming age it's a little bit different, but generally a season of television should end with something big. It was emotional. I liked the emotional moments over these two episodes, obviously. And don't get me wrong, they're good. I'm just questioning the pacing of it all. But again, maybe they're hamstrung by the content in the manga and how it's structured. Once you take that kind of expectation out of it, again, the two episodes really do shine, I feel. There's some strong stuff across them all. I even like that scene at the very end. Farlan seemed much more herself. So again, during 16-17, it seemed like she was moving closer and closer to being less of herself, but then something at the very end snapped her out of it. So it's nice to see that taken even further in the presence of Thistle. Indeed. Yeah, okay. We can shut that now. So yeah, that was Season 1 of Dungeon Meshi. I may get up and have something to eat. I may not. And I may return, or I will return, and talk about these two episodes a little bit more. In a little bit more detail, I think. So, Season 1 of the show, 24 episodes, wrapped up. I've kind of given my thoughts on structural stuff about the season, and how I potentially think that could be improved during the ED. Not going to bring it up again. Instead, we're going to focus on what we do have. And what we do have is, in one part, an emotional backstory for Senshi, with a little bit of a mystery hidden within it. Kind of Laos goes full detective mode to try to figure out what the hell even happened based on the events kind of presented. And it's revealed that Senshi isn't accountable. Good, we like that. Again, a huge part of the reason why he couldn't go back to living with the humans was based on this decision as well. There's a lot of weight there. A lot of weight. Along with, again, his mentor guy, he had a name. Him, like, literally giving up his life to give the younger one nutrition. Very fatherly in that way. Something which Senshi has taken to heart with his own stuff. So, again, another pretty clear connection there. So great, episodes in one part that. In another part, it's classic Dungeon Meshi goofiness, where we just have, like, everybody swapping like character designs with each other. It's really, really fun. It's not as rote as a body swap, I think. It's a little bit more interesting. And again, we redesigned the characters to fit that. Again, I think it's very smart. It's playing with its own premise. I think the overall message, again, that Laios tries to pull from it is that, hey, we're not so different, you and I. This idea of food connecting all of these different cultures around the world, all these different races. I think that's quite poignant, even if the characters think, again, that's a little bit cheesy. And yeah, towards the end, we just kind of get that lead in that, hey, there's some technology here. It's a little bit more advanced than what we've seen thus far. It's deeper in the dungeon than anyone has ever gone before. Again, we imply that nobody's gone past that door before, other than maybe Thistle. You know what I mean? So pretty excited to see, hey, how's this how's all this new technology and the war that happened before, how is that going to inform things? This overall premise about eating Farlan, about eating that bottom portion, and kind of using bacon and eggs as a metaphor there. If you eat the bacon, the egg will be left intact, as opposed to Izutsumi, where it's a little bit more difficult. It's all scrambled together. It's hard to remove just the egg portion, or just the yolk, I should say. And yeah, there's a lot of meat there. Pause. But there's a lot of meat there, so yeah, you got to eat the meat, and you got to get everybody to eat the meat. And we're all in this together, and we're bringing in that community aspect, that universal aspect to the show, that theme that's been poignant and prominent through the entire piece, I think. So yeah, hey, that's pretty good on paper. I was just expecting another big episode 16, 17 type moment here in these two episodes, and I just didn't really get it. And again, I'm not going to talk about it. But again, false expectations do color this a little bit. And I think, again, with fresh eyes, now that I know what I saw, you know, does that make any sense? Now that I know what to expect, I think a rewatch will do wonders for my opinions. Either way, let's jump back through again. It may be a little bit faster than I thought as well. I was kind of planning this to be a very long recording session, but based on the content, maybe not so much. We will see. We will see. We start the episode where we left off last episode, Senshi telling this little story about the time that his mining crew happened upon this golden city below everything else. Now again, Senshi's lived for a long time, but this ancient city is still like the same ancient city as the golden castle, right? Still the same dungeon. It's not some ancient elven dwarven stuff, which is implied to have happened way before, right? I think that's more where the timeline's coming in, I think. In that way, it kind of connects Laios and Farlan to Senshi. They're both initially gold-picking crews that kind of got pulled into this world, so to say. And in Senshi's case, forced to live off the land, right? Laios, in a very similar way. He lost his sister. He was forced to indulge in dungeon food. Again, some nice parallels and mirroring between the characters there. Again, very obvious now in retrospect. This is Senshi's helmet. Maybe I should have picked that up earlier. I should have picked up a lot of things earlier during this segment, if I'm honest. Again, that kind of dent in the helmet, one of the identifying features, is explained during this flashback as well. There is an irony as well that the fear of being left alone, the fear of being without community, was one of the driving factors for Senshi even rushing into the dungeon in the first place, right? Rushing into the golden castle, or whatever you call it, right? Again, so much of these two episodes is reinforcing that theme of humans seeking community, humans seeking each other. Lots of holding hands stuff as well, getting us through that whole segment too. Again, focusing on universals, things that apply to everybody. Again, I'm sure that anybody can identify with Senshi here, not wanting to be left alone, wanting to be included, and running in. Sure, I think that's quite deep. I like that. This whole segment here has a really creepy tone. I'm not quite sure what it's hearkening to, but it's definitely implying the cannibalism angle pretty early. I don't know how it's doing it. Maybe it's through the shots, maybe it's through some of the editing, but something's not quite right. You can't quite see into all the corners. We never see the griffin, so to say, so we never know if it's actually real or not. We never know if, again, these guys have lust for gold and greed. Greed helps you to take out other people that may be stealing the gold from you. Maybe a curse put on the dungeon. Again, spooky vibes. I really, really like it. As these killings start to occur, the place closes off more and more. We're familiar with this kind of technique. We've seen it in kind of the aftermath of the episode 12, 13, 14 stuff, right? Where the gang is kind of trapped in level 5. Yeah, so the dungeon's doing a very similar thing to these guys. Every step of the way we have Dad here helping us to stay calm, hand on the shoulder, there's always a way out, must remain calm, all that kind of stuff. He seems like he really has our back. I wonder if this connection will be explored further through further flashbacks or a lot of it implied. I don't know, these two seem close, Senshi and kind of Redbeard here. It seems like the dungeon is in some ways punishing them, but in other ways providing for them. They found water when they needed to find water. They found, the right way when they needed to find the right way. There was even a pretty woman at a point, right? Like, it's almost like the dungeon itself is messing with them. But eventually they were running low on food. They didn't understand the dungeon. They didn't understand where they could find the food. Thus, it's time to go out and fight and see if we can actually find something. And with that, the whole gang walks away, even Squarehead himself, Mr. Minecraft villager. And yeah, Senshi's left to do the maps. Again, being left alone, emphasized with this shot. He doesn't want to be left alone more than anything else, right? Being left alone in this situation is the most terrifying thing. Griffin aside, the Griffin is just a reminder of this feeling, of the feeling of being left alone, That's why in episode 22, when the Griffin takes him away to be alone, not around his friends again, he feels so scared. That's why he's so shaken up by it. As we continue, the party members continue to drop, and some animosity would start to form around Senshi. He stays at home while we fight, right? And he maps and does whatever else, but he still eats all the food? How is that fair? He's not working his way, he's just a hindrance, would be so much further along if he wasn't here. Very prominently in all these scenes, we also see the horse, which becomes a pretty prominent factor as we continue, right? It's a hippogriff. So, it's looking for this horse. Potentially for food, potentially for something else. Again, as we imply. A lot of this fear is built upon this false information from Old Mate here as well. He says that it has to be a griffin, and that it's hunting us down for sport. That has to be it, right? Where again, if we correctly identified the creature initially, if we had that Laios-esque knowledge about the situation, we could have, maybe figured that the horse was the problem earlier. Tensions reach a boiling point here. As Senshi is sleeping, he overhears the other two arguing about Senshi, right? Like, hey, he's stealing all our food. What is he doing? He needs to... blah, 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 blah. The line here, he's only 36 and he still needs to grow from the other guy, right? Nutrition, understanding, being a parent there. Caring for somebody that's weaker than you, being a hero. But again, the realist, Minecraft guy, he's playing survival mode. He understands what needs to happen here, and that this guy, on a surface level, is a hindrance. I do like through this segment as well, we see Senshi continue to grow his iconic beard. You could squint and say that maybe it's him kind of projecting this desire from everybody else for him to grow up quicker and become more useful. That he has to grow the beard. It's a sign of, maturing and masculinity and all those kind of things that he's being challenged with at the moment. Or he just doesn't have the tools to shave. It could be one of the two. Either way, there's a really stupid scene here where he tries to eat a rock and then the other guy thinks that he's, snacking for some reason. So, I don't know what all that's about, but yeah, again, your head is shaped like a cube. You have other things to worry about, I think. These growing tensions culminate in another argument from the other two outside. The argument seems to be interrupted by screams. We don't understand why, but it kind of sounds like somebody getting stabbed or something, so I don't know. Then it went eerily silent. Only the other guy returned. Stay put, don't look outside. You don't want to see what's out there. We were attacked by the Griffin. I took down the Griffin, but Brigand died instantly. When I looked at his head, it looked like he got hit with a blunt object. So, Griffin, sharp claws. Wouldn't be a blunt object. Again, a lot of the framing here implies that there's some kind of murder took place. That the arguments around Senshi, again, he would feel guilt for that, reached a boiling point, to the point where they wanted to kill each other, right? It's kill or be killed, right? So then, let's eat the Griffin. If we clean it and make a soup out of it, it'll be fine. Griffin meat. Look at it. Very nice Griffin meat. Again, this was lost on me in the moment. I thought it was an implication, but I never really figured it, right? You are fully suspecting that this is human meat right now. And now I come to that realization. Either way, I was hungry. I ate the meat. I had to eat the meat. The other guy, he just fucked off. He went off to die, essentially. He said he needed to relieve himself, and he never returned. Did he get killed by something else? Did he have internal injuries? Did he use his last semblance of life to feed Senshi, in a way? Again, metaphorically, that's what's happening, but literally? Maybe. Again, we'll never know. And that that lack of knowledge, that lack of desire to open up the door and actually check what happened, that fear there from Senshi is a huge part of this as well. He gets no closure, and again holds on to these feelings and this trauma for such a long time. Again, until the second half of the episode where we help to remedy that somewhat. At this point, we have Senshi continuing to survive very slowly on the meat that was left, studying the maps and getting really, really familiar with the surrounding area. Fair enough. I also like his hair here. I don't know, I like the style, kind of it continuing to grow and him needing to tie it in a little bit of a bun. I just think it's cute. I like that. Finally, Senshi gathered the courage to walk outside of the room, and all he found left were these things. All the bones and everything had been taken. Again, you can imply that this is a dungeon cleaner type deal, but wouldn't they also get rid of this kind of stuff? Some other creature took the bones. I don't know what's happening, man. But hey, he got left with gear. This is a nice helmet. Equip that shit. This is another pot. Very, very cool. We love a pot. Very quickly upon leaving, he meets with some orcs, and they're good people, in exchange for teaching them Dwarvish, at least somewhat, right? Because that'll be handy for them, because they're literally in like a Dwarven structure right now. And if you can read, you can navigate, which is cool. They would want to know such a thing. And in return, hey, I taught him the difference between mushrooms and other mushrooms and stuff. And a little bit of monster knowledge as well, which never goes to astray, as well as the facial hair continuing to grow here. The orcs also help with navigation, helping him to find the surface once again. But after everything that happened, he's like a new man now. Again, especially the implied cannibalism, which he thought he did, right? He thought it was human meat. I can't go back to live with humans now. I've committed a taboo, almost, right? I can't bring myself to do that again. I can't bring myself towards a community again, you know? That's why, again, this stuff, this is so important. This is Senshi taking that step towards a community once again, imparting the knowledge that he has and so forth, right? Like, that's what's happening at the base of this, is that Senshi's scared to be alone. But in his fear to be alone, and the sacrifices and the things that he had to do, he can't be in a community either. He's stuck in a flux. He can't be alone, and he can't be together with people. He's traumatized. He's very, very much traumatized. Again, this is the best kind of flashback, because it's the one that gives extra weight to everything that has come before it, right? Every single other decision that has been made by Senshi, and all the little, mannerisms he has, and, oh yeah, you need to, make nutritious meals and all that kind of stuff, and all the knowledge he has, it's predicated on something real, both physically, both tangibly. There was a real circumstance that kind of informed this, as well as mentally. We understand why he's mentally coming from all these positions now, right? Thematically even, like, take a step out. This is what it means in the show thematically for him to be making these decisions. For him to have the philosophy that he has now, brilliant. I love it. It's very, very good. The very last thing here that we say is that also informed every other time that I've eaten, right? I'm still searching for that taste, searching for that confirmation that I haven't done what I've done, right? But I can't find it. Cool. That's why I'm scared of the Griffin as well, because I'm scared of confronting this. I'm scared of opening up to you guys, giving you my deepest, darkest fear there, because you may not respect me for that. Again, that's the whole premise of, like, him not wanting to go back to town, is like, they may shun me for this, and can I face that? Can I face being shunned by community once again? That's why it's so important when everybody supports him and hugs him upon learning all of this stuff and that kind of thing. Everyone gets around him. It's nice. Again, Senshi wanting to belong, wanting to fit in, that also fits into a lot of his, again, personal quirks. He's very handy. He wants to be perceived as very handy. He wants to be useful. He fears that if people don't find him useful, they will toss him aside. I don't know. I think there's something in that. And either way, Laios, not reading the room at all, being Laios, doing Laios things, suggests eating the griffin. Hey buddy, if we eat the griffin and he tastes what he didn't taste before, then it would almost confirm it to be human meat. It's basically one of the most confronting things that Senshi could do. It's him proverbially opening that door from that room again, right? He's scared. And you just suggesting it flippantly is crazy. That's crazy talk. It's a crazy work from you. I'm saying it. But in the end, he is right. Like, you should confront your fears here at some point, and that's what we end up doing. Now again, is it this? You guys look kind of fucking weird here, I'm gonna be real. Anyway, the show's allowed to look weird sometimes. Let's give him a break. We're going to take meat from the upper body and the lower body to prepare the meals, just in case they taste different. The rest of the gang correctly say that, hey, you're just doing that because you want to eat the monster. Which is fair enough. In kind of doing the butchery here and everything else, he's discovering things. He's like, there's a lot of muscle for this kind of creature. And it doesn't really eat people because it didn't really target us like that. Like, griffins don't normally eat people, but you did have a horse. Griffins like horses, but why didn't it target the horse first then? I don't know. And then we start to think about it, right? Turns into a little bit of a mystery later on. I like how all the elements come together here. As I said before, griffins don't really have a, solid object to make a blunt force hit in the helmet, so again, Senshi knew that as well. It implied that there was a tussle there between the two dwarves. But Laios takes it even further here. He's like, okay, but how does that explain the other three? And uses his vast knowledge of different monsters to think about which one would resemble a griffin but also have blunt object force. We need to recreate the meal exactly as it was, so we get some boiling water and we're just going to boil the meat. No spices, no nothing, right? But the mushrooms, we could use these mushrooms over here. Do you recognize these mushrooms? Senshi says no. He's been down here a long time and he knows like survival stuff. Why don't you know these mushrooms? Laios runs over and checks his notes and starts writing some stuff up on them. All will become clear very, very soon. So again, we make our griffin soup. Senshi has a little bite and it doesn't taste anything like what he had that day. Then what he ate back then must have been human meat. I don't think it was human meat. I like Senshi here as well. He's dismissive. He's like, well, whatever. He must have wanted me to survive. I'm over it. At least I have closure now. But you can tell he's really still distraught about it. He really didn't want to think about it, and he got the worst answer. And correctly, Chilchuck and Marcel blame Laios. It's like, you made him feel like shit for what? Like, what was the plan here, buddy? But au contraire, Laios has some more moves up his sleeve here. Puts on this sly smile. Senshi didn't eat the griffin meat that day, of course. He ate something else entirely. A different monster. The first monster he ever ate. Oh my god, the lore. It's crazy. In reality, as I've been explaining, it was a hippogriff. It had a horse, lower body. This hoof would explain the blunt injury, right? It kept chasing them down because it was also a horse. It could have been curious or in heat. Remember, the horse's name was Arn. It was a girl horse. I don't know. You could see that, I guess. This knowledge makes Senshi quite happy. He sheds a tear or two, right? But also, hey, it's a good story. I appreciate you trying to make me feel better, but we can never confirm this. There's no hippogriff. How can we ever think to see what it tastes like, right? And then, yeah, let's find out. Let's find out what a hippogriff tastes like. And let me explain here and just do the show's job for it, right? So hey, there's a number of mysteries here. Why? In all the years in the dungeon, nobody has ever reported a griffin. A griffin is completely new, but we do have knowledge of hippogriffs. They're around, right? How did that occur? And yeah, we go full on investigation mode here. There was an accomplice, right? That accomplice, of course, was changelings. We essentially explain this with another myth about a different monster. So there were changeling children, right? Cool. A child who goes to play in the woods returns home as an identical troll, right? What changed them? Did they kill the child and then transform into the child and then try to kill everybody else? What's the go there? Also really like this art style here, very 19th century horror story, I think, horror book, horror novel. For a long time this was believed to be some kind of magic, but recently it's been discovered that it's the work of these mushroom-like monsters transforming the children, right? So if you step onto the mushrooms, you go through a small change, right, to your being, right? So stepping on the changelings changed the hippogriff into this griffin. That's why it still has a hippogriff like moveset. It still uses its hoofs to kick, even though there's no hoofs there, right? So again, we can confirm this, right? We see this circle of changeling mushrooms. We put it in the center, and a change does occur. It changes to a different kind of meat, hippogriff meat. Hippogriff soup essentially finally gains the courage. He steals himself and eats a piece. And yeah, it's the same soup as before. To taste this soup again is the one thing he wanted in life, and his association with Laios and the gang helped him do it. The community there came together to reproduce this feeling. In doing so, it confirmed that he's not a cannibal. That's one. But two, it confirmed what he always wanted, right? Which was a set of community, right? The reason why this hurt him so much was because he thought that he did something that would separate him from humanity. And in this community, connecting him to humanity, connecting him to other people, to other cognizant beings, right? Confirming this to him, making him belong. It all just comes together. It feels lovely. It's very, very well written. We have this shot here, which will be kind of compared and contrasted with a different shot later on of his new gang surrounding him, you know? That one. There you go. It happens immediately. Thank you, everybody. My new people are here. You've made me okay again. I was broken, now I've been repaired. Senshi here recounts something that's pretty important as well. In all his experience in the dungeon, it seems like it knows what you want from it and will punish you if you don't meet a certain standard. If you seek, wealth or greed or something else, right? Power. It's going to punish you. It's going to send you further back, right? However, if you live like the orcs, if you live not wanting anything from it, right? Again, apply this to the real world, apply this to the environment. If you exist within your environment for not greedy means, just take what you want from it and live for other pursuits, it will reward you handily. It won't hurt you, right? But now the dungeon knows that we want Farlan. We want the Mad Magician. We want the Winged Lion. It won't quite be as accommodating as it had been before. Again, a good teaser going into the future stuff. Things may not be as easy as previously thought, now that we have desires, wants from the dungeon. Even though those desires are noble and good, protagonist-like desires, they are still, in essence, desires, and could lead to negative things happening. Still, there is many things I want to teach you. Will you take me with you? Of course, the whole gang's gonna stay together. And then everyone, let's start going, let's go, blah, 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 blah. We all step in the circle at the same time and hit that changeling button. The gas goes out. And yeah, I'm like, okay, well, we're changing. That's what's happening. And then we're like, oh, it's food poisoning. And I'm like, is it just food poisoning? That's stupid. As it turns out, we're actually changing. The show's pretty smart there. So after that quite emotional segment, we go full dungeon meshy ridiculousness, right? Every character in our party has swapped race with another character. So let's count them out, right? We have Laios, who is the dwarf. We have Marcel, who is now the half-foot. We have Chilchuck, who is now the tall man. We have Senshi, who is now the elf. And I guess Izutsumi, there's 5 people. They couldn't all swap with each other, so she just swapped with a kobold, right? So went from like a cat-based thing to a dog-based thing. Makes sense. The funniest one of all here is Senshi. This is a objectively hilarious image. It's just good. He looks like a 16th century Spaniard man. You know what I mean? He's got that even a little bit later, 17th century Enlightenment philosopher type look. You know what I mean? It's very funny. It's very, very good. And the eyelashes, he's killing it. He's slay, of course. The roses and the sparklies. Almost very shoujo as well in spots. It's very good. This is an objectively good image. This is an objectively good joke. I will not be taking questions on the matter. Compare that to Peter Griffin over here, and you can see the difference, I guess. Of course, we have Izutsumi over here as well. I don't know what it is. Something about just this look with the snout and the eyes there. It's hilarious. You look so dumb. You look so stupid. Either way, the assumption here is that we'll go straight back to where we were, step in the circle again, and we'll change straight back. The dungeon itself has moved around us. It's shaken and changed we can't go back. We can't go back to where we were, essentially. Continuing this, I guess, ridiculousness, we have the characters trying on each other's clothes. So let's break this down. You're in Senchi's gear, very cool. You're in Laos's gear, very cool. You're in Marcel's gear, which is just hilarious. I love that. Again, it adds to the whole look here. And you're in Chilchuck's gear, of course. You can still wear your own. You're in the really just changed the animal you're based on. So again, this whole segment here succeeds on character design. It succeeds on, again, establishing these characters and what they look like and then switching it up, right? Us learning something about each other in the process. It's almost sitcom-y. It's almost like rote episode, premise. But I really like it here. I still think it's funny, for one, and I think it goes to something deeper, as Laos tries to say a little bit later on. Again, I'm not going to talk about every single difference here, but there's some notable ones. You've lost your endurance, essentially. Like, you're now a sprinter, you think that you're pretty strong now, but you can't really make that happen over time. Half-foots, they're better at hearing things out and, understanding and blah, 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 but they're terrible in hand-to-hand combat, so hey, you should hide more often and not get thrown around. Fair enough. To Marcel, of course. You have Chilchuck, who's still doing his old Chilchuck thing, trying to run away. You're a big, tall man now. You need to stand in the way. You're the tank class, And again, all these mismatches mean that they can't do what they normally do, Even Senshi, he's too busy slaying the entire time to actually slay the beasts in front of him, of course. So again, everybody here starting to understand each other and understand their challenges and strengths and that kind of thing can only make the party stronger as well. Again, another important aspect of the segment. I think you guys can relate to this if you guys play video games and that kind of thing. These guys did a side quest that accidentally linked into the main quest, and then they started doing main quest stuff when they were still on a silly side quest, right? Yeah, they found the door. The door that's meant to take them further than they've ever been taken before, and, their major reason for even coming into the dungeon in the first place. The furthest point which anybody has ever gone in the dungeon. We accidentally made progression. Oh no. I'm interested about this campfire though. Why is there a campfire here? What's going on there? Is somebody actually further in that we didn't know about? Question mark? I don't know. Now the temptation here would be to try to change us back before progressing further. Laos says that it's fine, we've been doing fine anyway. And again, if we progress further, we may find a solution first as well. It doesn't, befit us to just walk around in a circle and do nothing, right? Everybody here kind of agrees, but here's the important detail. They haven't done combat yet, and combat's where things start to fall apart. Of course, there's some nice stuff with the voice acting, I should mention as well. Chilchuck's got a notably deeper voice that his voice actor is putting on, as well as Senshi, which is up a few registers, a little bit more elf-like. Good stuff. Very, very good. We start bashing against the door, and then Kensuke pops out and unlocks the door. Now, bear with me on this one, right? I kind of want to go back to episode 3 and have a look around. Like, again, what is this mollusk thing? We never really saw how it reproduced, what laid the egg, and all that kind of stuff, right? What happened there? Did Kensuke hatch from the egg? Is that related to the winged lion? He is in the winged lion sword. That would make sense. Yeah, that's what I'm interested in. Is this had this been preordained from the very start? You know what I mean? Like destined. Like Laos gets this sword, the winged lion sword, from a random guy, and then we find the random Ornstein from Dark Souls looking guy, and then we have to battle with him, and then Kensuke, rushes into this guy because he reads the destiny on him and that kind of stuff. Are we going to that level of preordained? Again, Kensuke seems very important. Who put Kensuke there? Why did they put him there? What's the go? Interested. I want to know more. With her heightened half-foot senses, Marcel notices something move above the door. Very high perception stat, of course. In fact, it's some fucking gargoyles. There they are. Hello, gargoyles. As I explained before, their kind of failures come out in combat a little bit more, right? So we have Chilchuck starting the fight by running away like a half-foot normally would. Gets chased down and attacked and exploded and stuff, right? Well, gets exploded based on your attack. You shoot a big spell. But you're a smaller human now. You're a smaller person. You're a smaller being. So the magic is going to affect you more and more. As a result, you start to feel immense mana sickness, right? You're not used to it. This body isn't used to it, you know? Now, Izutsumi, there's a little bit of blood here, right? Both from Chilchuck and from Marcel. And you get that kind of bloodlust smell. You lose your mind and keep attacking until you're dead or they're dead. That's no good. We don't want that. And again, Senshi is too busy serving cunt to do anything. He doesn't carry anything heavy anymore. What are you doing? Question mark. We ring the bell here. Now, what does this mean? We rang the bell to try to get Izutsumi to follow us. Now, what on earth could that lead to? Because that's the same bell, right? It's the same bell from the end of 1617, that little arc. Maybe. It implied that somebody from the east would come and get them and help them out of the dungeon. What does that mean? I don't know. Keeping an eye on it, of course, for next season. The gang essentially decides to flee that combat, run through the door, shut it off, and hey, what gives? This body sucks. Let's eat. Let's eat because we're here now, why not? We essentially start to make some griffin dumplings, something of the sort anyway. At least one version of dumplings based on one different culture. We say here that cooking is a good time for self-reflection as well. Again, thinking about what makes us who we are, even getting a little bit existential. Probably why they end up making so many dumplings. They continue to reflect on themselves. There is the really gross detail of Izutsumi's fur getting in some of the dumplings as well, which I continue to not like. Either way, here we bring up, I guess, the point of the dumplings in the episode, right? Every single person there in the thing said, this is slightly different than what I normally have, but it's still really tasty. It's almost like dumplings are universal, right? Every race has their own kind and different way of cooking them, whether it be vegetarian or frying them in oil or blah, blah. It's always some kind of bread surrounded by some kind of filling. You know, just depends on where you are, how different it is, you know? And again, we kind of undercut this. Laios says that this is really profound, right? That wraps things up nicely, doesn't it? Well, not really, because we're still, you know, different forms, but hey, I understand where he's coming from thematically. It's nice. We get some offhand exposition-y lore stuff here from Marcel about where we are. This is a dwarven ruin. It'll have immense technology here, but again, it ended in ruin. You know, it led up to a catastrophe, this kind of arms race between the elves and the dwarves, right? A technological, like, apocalypse almost. Hence why elves and dwarves these days are so hell-bent on stopping any of this stuff, you know? We also bring up an important point here through Chilchuck. If we meet up with any elves that disapprove of the dungeon and what we've done and blah, 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 based on what, again, we know Shuro told them, aren't you buddy-buddy with the elves? Can't you convince them that we're all okay? We'll see. We imply some stuff about Marcel's mother. We will see further on. And in a very weird way, we just kind of end the episode on Senshi serving. I don't know. Weird end. I'm going to keep saying it. It's a weird end of the episode. Fucking long episode too. Really, really long. Let's bring up that next one. Now, to me, this episode here is quite strange. I'm not sure about this one as a finale, as I've gone into. Bit weird. We just kind of fix the changeling problem in a pretty fun way. We don't go much further beyond that. We just kind of talk about Farland for a little bit, maybe. Again, I'm not quite sure it all fits. A lot of the first half of this episode really feels like continuation from the next one. Only a little bit, though, you know. We start to bring up ages here, and if one may age differently in one other body based on somebody else, so we can't stay like this forever, otherwise we're going to be aging at weird rates. So Marcel, when you come out of your half-foot form, which the average lifespan is only 50 years, you live for way longer than that. If only 2 days pass here, then a lot longer will pass when you go back to an elf form, right? Makes sense? So we need to solve this quickly. Otherwise you'll be wrinkle-sil or whatever, right? So on one level, funny, but then on another level, right, we think about Marcel and her particular fears around death and time passing and people close to her passing away and that kind of thing. Again, personified through this nightmare creature that she has, taking upon different forms of the dungeon, different forms of monsters, and so forth. It gets a little bit deeper. It becomes a little bit more real. I like that. It's a good touch. Also harkens back to that initial nightmare in episode 2 now that I think about it. All these different monsters coming out again. Again, these monsters being the personification of the passage of time and death itself. Chilchuk is also very smart here as well. If these mushrooms really did what they did, do you really think we're the first ones to discover them? If, this would be a huge thing. People want to change race, change themselves all the time, right? Even if you just did it for a laugh, why isn't this a thing, right? Maybe because of the side effects involved. This discourages Laios, who potentially wanted to use this changing technology on Farlan. So again, perfect scenario, let's say we beat the Mad Magician, they immediately repent, Farlan's back to herself. How is she going to live? Is she going to be this dragon person the entire time? Is she going to continue to live as a freak, or can we change her somehow? This is quite a stupid thought. I understand Marcel here, but really this segment's just used for comedy. I like this part. Is it here where he digs the ditch for her and she just kind of works the counter at a shop while her body's underneath? Yeah, like that. That's fucking hilarious. That's great. Either way, she probably couldn't exist on the surface without mana. It's like a fish out of water. So hey, let's change her to something that's a little bit more suited to living on land, right? Again, I know a certain subset of people that really, really like this one. Monster Musume enjoyers. Anybody? But not me, by the way. I don't think this is particularly practical either. Either way, as Laios is going off on his little rant about how changing is cool and how monsters are cool and how he wants to change Farlan and all this other stuff, right? We hear a sound. You don't hear the sound, which is weird, but you do. Almost like it's a racial feature. And hey, the gargoyles are returning. And then right behind you, Laios, the gargoyles are here. And then we need to, headbutt him or whatever. The animation in this segment is top tier. I'm running out of time somewhat, so we're going to skedaddle over it a little bit. But hey, it's really good. It's some trademark trigger stuff. When Marcel's getting kind of bounced around here, it's top tier. I really like it. Either way, the gargoyle picks up the sword here, which is an important point. It then throws said sword through a gap between Marcel and Chilchuk's arms, right? Through a circle. From there, it changes with some smoke into a whole different kind of sword. Now, again, we made a circle, it passed through the circle and changed. It's almost like the spores are within us right now and can, again, have very similar properties to what we were using before. We now use this in this combat encounter to our advantage. I think, again, very, very clever segment from that perspective. Again, I would say trademark Dungeon Meshi, just great premise, great kind of fantasy-esque genre stuff and subverting it in fun ways. I think it's really, really good. It's the advantage of the show. I think this scene here is the standout from the animation point of view. That slam there into the turn, into the slam against the screen there. Very Crash Bandicoot. I really, really like that part. Either way, the gargoyle in question gets kind of stuck in the grates now, very similar to how Marcel's foot got stuck in there before. Now that it's stuck, we can make a circle around its vicinity and test this theory. Everyone fucking Symphogear style, holding hands, forming a circle around the beast, and hey, it changed. It changed into whatever the fuck this is. Again, animation through this part, very, very good. We essentially try to lift Marcel and make like a circle, a loop, that a ring that the gargoyle then passes through and changes. It's very well executed. I don't need to play it out here, but it's very, very good. It finally passes through that ring, of course, and we see that. We also see the piss. I don't know, this whole segment's just fucked. I don't know. Something very uncomfortable about washing my hands in a piss statue water thing as well. Just uncomfortable all around. Again, very funny. Now, this is really fun. I never really thought about this, but we go into, I guess, some of the biology of the mushrooms and how they reproduce. Why does it even do this changeling thing, right? So, animals will step on the thing, right? And their form will be changed by the changelings. They changed kind of antlers here, if you can see, right, to a different breed of deer. The rest of the deer then run away. They're hated by their own kind. They're left alone, almost similar to some of the Senshi theming from before, left out of their community, so to say, and then they die alone. But they themselves are a seedbed for the mushroom spores, spawning more mushrooms, proliferating the life. Basic biology stuff there from there, I think. Therefore, we need to wash ourselves, clean ourselves, rid ourselves of the mushrooms, and then we'll change, right? We need to clean Kensuke as well, but I think Laios just thinks Kensuke's cool now and wants to keep him this way. He looks like an edgy fantasy sword, with some fucking World of Warcraft type bullshit. He wants to keep it that way. No. wash it. Don't continue to grow the mushrooms. Again, as a real part 2 to what we had before, right? We use the same dumplings again. We're going to deep fry these ones, and it's going to be a different method of cooking as opposed to, I think we steamed them before. I don't really know what we did. I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, put in some time and effort here to deep fry these dumplings. Again, with the... with the hairs on this one, it looks like a fucking ball sack. I'm going to be real with you guys. Like, that just looks like balls. So that one, very not appetizing. These two, a little bit more like it. This whole kind of segment is premised on Azutsumi eating, and she's a light eater. We want to make sure she gets nutrition and that kind of thing. We want to make sure we make something she likes. She didn't really love the dumplings last time. We fried them. She still doesn't really like them. We figure if we put them in another circle, right, a mouth that has the spores in it, it'll change into a different kind of dumpling. Again, bringing together this thing that every single culture has their different kind of dumpling. So if we put a different one in, different one, it comes out with a different dumpling. Very, very cool. We can have these kind of griffin dumplings 10 to 15 different ways. Again, bringing what Laios was saying last episode full circle, there's not that much of a difference between us all. Let's kind of partake in this different culture, partake in the kind of culture of all these different races, truly embrace it in a way. And it's almost like metaphorically that curse is lifted, so to say, and we can go back to our original forms. In a classic storytelling sense, we learnt the lesson of the transformation and then are transformed back. Yeah, I like it. Now, in thinking about this and how, certain other things don't get changed by the dungeon, like this dumpling changes, but when I eat dumpling and then I digest it, it doesn't change. What's the go there? It's almost like digestion is the key, something we'll talk about in the next segment here as well. Now, I'm not particularly privy to all these different kinds of dumplings, of course. I just don't know. I'm not even going to begin to... some of these gyoza, some of them look like gyoza, I don't know. One has lamb, one has cheese, this one over here is sweet. And then lo and behold, upon... feet aside, lo and behold, upon accepting, the different food from everybody else, every other different race and that kind of thing, we become normal again. Very quickly here, we're into the next segment, and we're talking about this dragon ham thing, which is very funny. So, again, another important piece of evidence. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but this is food that hasn't been digested yet. So it still gets drawn in, it's still under the control of the dungeon, essentially, right? But the food that was in our bodies, the dragon that we ate, that wasn't pulled out of us or anything, right? We weren't pulled into it as a result. So that almost changed it, which means, hey, if we actually want to change Farlan here, we need to digest Farlan, which is, again, kind of fucking crazy. They also discover Laios's, crazy edge sword, so, There's another couple of important details there as well. It doesn't seem like there's many living things beyond this point, even though the temperature is suitable. I don't know, maybe they got wiped out in whatever happened way back in the day. Nobody was able to pass that door, not even any creatures, so we may run out of food here at some point as well. Something harkening back to your little backstory as well. But hey, we're out of our winter clothes as well as a result. It's pretty temperate in here. Interestingly enough, it seems like we're going to change technology and almost setting a lot, moving into the new stuff. We're down in the technologically superior old world, right? We've passed... to find some ancient technology, essentially, right? I said big Girls' Last Tour vibes, and I'm really, really feeling that now, especially with all the elevators and so forth, and this kind of world we're discovering as we continue further and further to different layers. Watch Girls' Last Tour, by the way, it's amazing, and then read it afterwards, it's amazing. But it'll be interesting to see how this changes things. Are we going to be reliant on fantasy tropes as much as we continue? It's hard to say. So yeah, the use of electricity, lights coming on, that kind of stuff. We're moving into a new world, we're advancing further and further. This is gotten across in the architecture and the new world design. Again, something I'll talk about way more when the show continues from this point. We're just kind of moving down into this new world right here. Again, not going to talk about it, but the decision to end the season on us having a conversation and having a cup of tea as we're on an elevator is an interesting one. I'll say that, right? Because it's a very low-key finish, right? We just kind of explain concepts. We take this kind of tea drinking opportunity to ask Laios some questions. Why are you even in this game? Give us some lore, give us some, some origins. Much like how Chilchuck has opened up a little bit, Senchi's opened up now. It's time for you to open up a little bit more, right? Maybe it's Marcel's turn some point in the future too, we'll say. So hey, he's in his town, he gets picked on, mostly because he's different, which, that happens. Then he joins the army, and he's picked on because he's different, because, that happens. And yeah, essentially from here, he's a deserter. He takes odd jobs as he continues, right? He's just like on a caravan moving around, going further south slowly and so forth, right? From there, I knew that Farlan was nearby at a boarding school. I went to go see her, and she wanted to join me. So, hey, we moved along from there, right? Together from there, we reached this island. At first, we arrived on the island. We started peeling gold because getting money is a good start to do anything. But then we just kind of stayed around, hung around near the dungeon. Farlan was fascinated, of course, predicated on her experience at boarding school, which we've seen a little bit of. We then ran into various party members, up to and including Shuro, and then Namari, and then this guy that exploited them. Very cool. So, who is that? Who's that? Who is that? Do you know who that is? Who the fuck's that? Who's that? Who's that? Yeah, I guess we'll learn later on. Hello, Chilchuck. But Chilchuck gets introduced by this guy, which is cool. Marcel enters the picture here at some point as well. So here's my thing, right? Did Marcel and Farlan meet at school and then got separated for whatever reason? Maybe you came along and blah, 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 blah. Maybe you moved on to something else and then came together again almost by coincidence? Is that how that happened? I think that's how that happened. If the boarding school experience back in the day was the same magic school that you two were attending, which I think it is. Upon hearing this story, Senshi is astonished. He's like, just the absolute lack of foresight there is insane. Yeah, that's Laios' vibe. The way that Laios told the story, it sounded like kind of Farlan was dragged along with him. And again, to an unfortunate end now that we know what happened to Farlan, right? So, why did you do that? It's almost like you're somewhat responsible here, so to say. Farlan didn't have a good childhood either. She was shunned for being different. She knew magic stuff. We saw some of that stuff in the flashback with the ghosts and so forth. They think she's a bit of a freak. As a result, she didn't make many friends. She ate all of her meals alone, up until she met Marcel, essentially, right? That was her only friend. And again, all the meals alone. Nobody with her. That Dungeon Meshi line coming through again. That meal, that sense of community. Think about this shot in contrast to the shots we saw in episodes 12 and 13, right? Where you were happily eating a meal along with everybody else. You'd actually found your people as a result of this change. Again, it's implied here that Marcel was asleep and that Izutsume was asleep as well and not really hearing all of this. But yeah, as we see, Marcel definitely heard all of this, Maybe this didn't bother Farlan as much, says Laios, right? Maybe she's stronger than me. But I wanted to make sure that she was never alone again. Not unless somebody else shows up that she wants to be with, This causes Marcel to start to cry. It's all very emotional. Maybe that's where we're going with the ending here. Maybe that's what the overall point is. Driving home this emotional kind of connection between Farlan and the rest of the gang, right? Making sure that we're really motivated to want to succeed in the future. And from that perspective, I think it's really successful. I think this is a great emotional moment. And again, between the best relationship in the show, in my opinion, which is Marcel and Farlan. Farlan used to bring me a lot of strange different things. But again, she just wanted a friend. She wanted somebody to play with, somebody to communicate with, somebody to eat with, of course. That's what she did. Always wondered why she kept doing that. She kept doing that because she wanted to do it with you. You were the first person that ever did that for her. And that's the significance there, And they were roommates, of course, and nothing more. And then, yeah, adorable here where Izutsume, again, tries to get closer here, tries to open up a little bit, and then it turns to full-on embrace, which she has to, in turn, embrace herself. Very, very, very good animation. I can't wait to share a meal with her again. I couldn't agree more. And then we go into our bacon and egg stuff. I've kind of explained a lot of it already. So, okay, if the soul is like an egg, Farlan is like bacon and eggs, right? The egg is on top of the bacon, but they can be separated, as opposed to scrambled eggs, which is a little bit more like Izutsume, where it's a bit harder to separate the two. The visuals help here in that regard, in kind of getting this metaphor across. In other words, if we cut off this portion, and then the dragon's left, and we get rid of the dragon, she'll be back to normal again. Again, further explaining things that I've already explained. Hey, those dragon hams, they got dragged in. Why didn't the dragon that was inside of us get dragged in? The digestion changed the properties somewhat. It stopped it being under the control of the mad magician, so to say. Thus, let's eat the bottom half of Farlan and it won't be under the control anymore. Does that make any sense? If we think about it, the kind of soul of the dragon is in there too, right? It represents the bacon. We eat the bacon, only the eggs left. All good, right? Again, that's a weird thing for you to say, Senshi. I thought you were kind of against this whole cannibalism thing. But again, hey, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it. In for a penny, in for a pound, I think, is essentially what he's thinking, right? The first thing that Laios thinks about is how many meals that would make, which makes everybody go crazy. Why the fuck is that your first thought about eating your sister? But again, it's because he's convinced on the method. This is the most convincing argument thus far. We must investigate it further. There's so much meat. How the hell are we going to eat all that dragon meat, of course? Therefore, in keeping with the thematic kind of tie between these two episodes, we're going to need a community of people to help partake in the meal, to almost come together with this sole purpose of wanting to save Farlan and everything that represents, right? To want to partake in dungeon food, to want to be the dungeon meshi, so to say. We need everybody to come together and cooperate. Which, yeah, really talks to these themes of ecosystem, everybody playing their part, harmony almost, you know. Sounds great. Sounds great on paper, let's say. So there's various groups that are on our side already. We have, you know, the people we saw in the Golden Castle before. Very cool. We have the orcs. Very, very cool. We have previous party members. And as well as Kablaru, he likes dungeon food, remember? He really likes it. That's quite a list, but it's hardly enough people. We need more people to cooperate. Maybe a bunch of elves. We will see. But now from here we have really clear goals. We have to go release the winged lion from the heart of the dungeon. That should reduce the mad magician's power somewhat. Second, we're just going to, you know, one punch man the fucking shit out of Thistle and it's going to be fine. We're going to win. From there we recruit a bunch of people to eat Farlan, and that's the plan as it stands right now going into season 2. I'm interested to see how that may change. Interestingly enough, it's almost like there was a massive delay here, or time passed weird in different spots. I thought that would be further into the dungeon by now is my point, but it looks like Namari, Kablaru, and Shuro are going in along with the elves, and we're going to, again, investigate what Kablaru was talking about. How is it different now? How has it changed? How are the elves going to feel about that? So yeah, this is now the parallel group working with the rest of us, right? Working to kind of chase us down and see what's changed and so forth. It'll be another flashpoint of characters, I'm sure, in the future. I really like this scene for Farlan as well, bringing the show full circle, of course, or the first season thus far. We started, of course, with a segment with a little mushroom guy, and that was the first chapter, you know? And then, hey, Farlan, she's still the same. She's still the same as she was before, as she was in episode 1 when she hadn't changed yet. She's still interested and wants to learn more about these kind of things. She's interested in dungeon food. Of course, in the process is scolded by Thistle. Don't eat stuff like that. Don't do dungeon food. Bad. But it seems like she's way more herself. I really like it. He also says there, what's this racket? It's almost like he can hear something above them. Or the elevator, maybe. That would make sense. So we're nearby. Let's say that. From there, we're preparing to kind of finish the season on that kind of triumphant high, leaving the audience wanting more. We're talking about all the different ways we're going to cook Farlan, progressing further and further into the dungeon. Dungeon meshi, eat or be eaten. There's no hierarchy. Eating is a privilege for those who live. Dungeon meshi. Oh, dungeon meshi, of course. To be continued. Season 2 has been announced, and we will be doing that quick smart when available to me. That was very good. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. I thought there was a little bit of weird stuff with the pacing, but I've been through that already. I think a lot of the concepts explored and the emotional highs of these 2 episodes more than make up for it. It's a production delight. It ticks every box. It's just amazingly good. I don't know what to tell you. It surprised me. It's an amazing show. I'll leave more final thoughts for when I actually finish the thing, I think. But for right now, very, very, very good, wholehearted recommendation from me. Now again, when you guys are watching this publicly, I would have already recorded what's next, so you can go on Patreon and see that if you're really, really interested, and so forth. But yeah, stick around. I'm going to continue with the show whenever it comes out again. So, hey, keep me in mind, and so forth, if you really enjoyed these uploads. I'm going to say goodbye. But thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time on Dungeon Meshi whenever it comes out again and so forth, and whatever else may be on the channel in the future. Rightio. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.